Banger after banger.
Well, Forbidden Door is this Sunday. This was AEW Dynamite. This was, I don't want to say the Go Home Show. I think the Go Home Show was technically Collision now. But this was the last episode of Dynamite before Forbidden Door this weekend. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you guys. I think I mentioned this last year when I was covering the first Forbidden Door. I'm not really too up to date on New Japan. I know of the big names, like your Tanahashis, like your Will Ospreys, like your Okadas. But as far as being super familiar with New Japan, I'm just not. I'm being honest. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about New Japan. I'm just not going to do that, man. Because y'all could pretty much figure that out from jump, right? So my connection to this show, I don't want to say I'm not excited, because I am, because this looks like an excellent card of wrestling, some real graps going on, but I don't have that same connection that a lot of other fans have. I see people on Twitter and on YouTube marking out for certain things, and I'm like, alright, that's cool, but I just don't have that same familiarity that, you know, a lot of other fans have. I'm just being honest. Now, as far as Forbidden Door, I am excited because based off the card we're getting so far, man, it looks like it's gonna be an interesting night of some wrestling, some good stuff going on. As far as this episode of Dynamite, it was alright. It was a pretty good episode. Some good setup going on. Some more good setup for Forbidden Door, of course. Was it as good as last week's episode? Nah, but it was still a good episode nonetheless. I go by the name of Big Hero Chris. This is my YouTube channel. This is the AEW Dynamite review. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up. Ring the notification bell. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, TikTok. Hit me up in the community post, man. You already know how I get down. So, this week's episode of Dynamite started off with Orange. You're glad I didn't say Orange Cassidy. Bing bong. It actually started off with a tag team match between the Hardy Boys and the Ass Boys. And I was like, alright, cool. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't come out with that the Ass Boys didn't come out to Many Men. But you know, it's all good. The Ass Boys surprisingly defeated the Hardy Boys with the help of the Bullet Club. And I'm like, alright, so are they officially going to announce that the Guns are part of Bullet Club? Not necessarily. But the Bullet Club goal did interfere and ended up costing the Hardy Boys the match. Afterwards, you got the beatdown of the Bullet Club and the Gun Club beating up the Hardy Boys. And then Ricky Starks come out. And then FTR comes out. And then CM Punk comes out. AEW is once again back in Chicago. They're still in Chicago. And FTR got a huge ovation. Of course, the hometown boy CM Punk got a big ovation. So they fight off the Bullet Club. They fight off the Ass Club. The Ass Boys. And then CM Punk lays out the challenge for this Saturday on Collision. It is going to be an 8-man tag team match. Bullet Club Gold with the Ass Boys taking on the team of CM, FTR, and Absolute Ricky Starks. And that should be a pretty fun main event match. You get some Ricky Starks on your TV. You get more CM, FTR. So, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. Also, CM Punk is going to be wrestling at Forbidden Door. A lot of people were thinking that it would be Kenta and CM Punk, but that's not necessarily the case. But, you know, you get CM Punk at Forbidden Door, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so after this, we got some straight up shenanigans, some straight up tomfoolery, some bona fide fuckery, if you will. We had a concession stand brawl match between Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that when they first announced the match, they said that it's just going to be Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe straight up. No Sanjay Dutt, no Jay Lethal, no Karen Jarrett, and no interference. And that was a lot of cap, because you did have Karen Jarrett interfering. You had Total Non-Stat Faction interfering. But you also had Papa Briscoe interfering on behalf of his son Mark Briscoe. And then you had the Lucha Brothers come out along with Best Friends. So I'm like, what the hell? Now, I will say, as much fuckery and shenanigans and tomfoolery and whatnot was going on in this match, I can't even lie to you. Whenever Jeff Jarrett's involved in a shenanigans type match, even with Mark Briscoe, it's a lot of fun. I can't lie to you. It's just something about Jeff Jarrett, man. I don't know what it is, but this match was actually a whole lot of fun. Mark Briscoe actually won due to outside interference, like I said, from Best Friends and the Lucha Brothers. And yeah, man, it was some entertaining graps going on. Yeah, not too much more I can say about this. There was ketchup and mustard and glizzies and popcorn involved and ladders and tables. Oh my. Overall fun match. Entertaining stuff. But we go back to the building up of Forbidden Door. You had a backstage pre-tape segment because Streets are saying that that the Elite wasn't there live because, you know, it's Chicago and CM Punk was still there, so the Elite, they had the pre-tape. And what had happened was the Blackpool Combat Club announced that they're calling out the Elite for I believe it's a 10-man tag team match. So you have Claudio, Wheeler, and Moxley with their partners Shota Umino, John Moxley's son, and Takeshita, and they were calling out the Elite. So it was going to be the Young Bucks and Adam Page, and this leads us to the segment I'm talking about now, where they accept the challenge, and one of the partners that they have is Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston made it very clear that, listen, I don't like the Elite. Because y'all tried to kill me a couple years ago in the exploding barbed wire death match. But I really hate Claudio Castagnoli. And that's some S-tier level of hating to say that I don't like y'all. But I really hate this dude over here. So any way I can get my hands on this dude, I'm down for it. Also, you had Bryan Danielson call out Okada, pretty much calling him an amateur, pretty much calling him a coward. And I'm going to skip ahead to the main event segment because Eddie Kingston was like, listen, I'm going to join up with y'all, but I'm going to pick the person I want to join up with us because I really don't trust y'all. I really don't trust the guy I'm picking, but I kind of respect him. And the person that Eddie Kingston ended up picking to round out the tag team match was Tomohiro Ishii, which makes sense because, you know, they've had their issues in the past, but I think there is some type of mutual respect between Eddie Kingston and Ishii. So that's cool. That's gonna be a cool 10-man tag match. But as Eddie Kingston's talking, you have John Moxley come out, and John Moxley and Eddie Kingston are supposed to be boys. They're supposed to be like this, but Eddie Kingston like, listen, man, you're supposed to be my boy, but you pretty much picking Claudio Castagnoli over me. And John Moxley, like, you always do this. He's trying to say something, but he can't really say because, like, I don't think he wants to hurt Eddie's feelings because at the end of the day, they're still boys. Even though they're on opposing sides of the fence, Moxley, like, listen, if you either stand with me or you stand against me, you're standing with the Elite, so you're pretty much in my way. So as they're talking, the Blackpool Combat Club come out and they attack Ishii and Eddie Kingston. Bryan Danielson, he's coming out and he's calling out Okada. Okada comes out, makes a save, gets a huge pop, and they pretty much have a standoff. It looks like Okada's gonna hit the Rainmaker on Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson ducks out the way. Okada ends up hitting the Rainmaker on Wheeler Yuta. Pretty much how they close out the show, setting up what they're naming the main event match. I was thinking that the main event match would be Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, but they're saying that Bryan Danielson versus Okada is going to be the main event. Either way, you can't go wrong with either one of these matches being your main event. As far as the rest of Dynamite, man, we had a trios match between Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki, the Murder Grandpa. See, I know about him. I know about Minoru Suzuki. I was at home singing Kaza Nina Ray. Pretty awesome song. I actually have it on my phone. I listen to it quite often. And they were taking on the team of AR Fox, Darius Martin, and Action Andretti. Where the hell has Action Andretti been? He beat Chris Jericho like 17 years ago, and we haven't seen this man since. I think he's been on Ring of Honor a couple of times, but we haven't really seen him since the whole I beat Chris Jericho thing, and he kind of was helping out Ricky Starks. But yeah, I haven't really seen the dude since then. They had a pretty fun match. The what do they call themselves? Murder, sex god, I don't know. Chris Jericho and them won the match, and then Chris Jericho ended up calling out Sting and Darby Allin, and they challenged them to a match at Forbidden Door. So it's going to be Minoru Suzuki, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara taking on the team of Sting, Darby Allin, and they're gonna pick their partner this Saturday at Collision. What kind of confused me is this whole blind eliminator tournament thing that they got going on. So you cut to Tony Schiavone and RJ City in the back, and they're picking names out of the little tumbler thing. And you see Tony Schiavone looking at one name, and then he looks at the other name, and he's making faces like, "Oh, I can't believe these two guys are going to be partners." And I'm assuming what this is it's going to be two partners picked at random. They're going to throughout this tournament, so it's not going to be an official tag team. It's just going to be two random dudes put together as a tag team, and if they win the tournament, they get a shot at the AEW tag team title sometime down the line. And we actually had our first two men that would be thrown together in a tag team, the brand spanking new tag team of Adam Cole and MJF. And this was made official during their segment. They had a little promo battle. Adam Cole was asking for his rematch. MJF was saying, "Nah, bro, it ain't happening." Then you had Tony Schiavone get up and say, "Listen, guys, the two names I picked out of the Tumblr were you two. You guys are gonna be tag team partners. Hooray!" And it was kind of funny because both Adam Cole and MJF do not like Tony Schiavone, so they both said "shut up, Tony" at the same time. So, yeah. I actually don't mind the team of Adam Cole and MJF because I feel like it could be something entertaining. You got a little taste of that with Adam Cole kind of egging MJF on to take on Tanahashi, because Adam Cole was like, "Listen, little bro, if you're not gonna face Tanahashi, that pretty much means he's better than you." So he pretty much put the old reverse psychology move on MJF to get him to accept the challenge of Tanahashi. So cool. I'm still kind of fuzzy on how this blind tournament is going to take place. Is it going to... I don't know. I guess we just got to wait and see, but I'm still kind of confused as to when does this start? Who's going to be the next tag team announced? I don't know. I'll just let this thing play out, man. I don't know. Something else that they just kind of just threw on us was the Owen Hart Cup tournament brackets. They kind of just threw it out there like, "Yeah, here you go. Here's the bracket tournament." And from what I'm seeing is we're getting some good matches. And one of the matches that I'm really looking forward to is Samoa Joe taking on Roderick Strong, and it's gonna be on an episode of Collision. And that's, I gotta tell you, man, the feeling that was restored. Some real graps is gonna take place. Some good old wrestling is gonna happen between Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe. As far as the rest of the tournament, man, for both the men and the women, it does look like it's going to be some pretty interesting stuff going on. So, the Owen Hart tournament is looking pretty good so far. Alright, so speaking of like throwing together tag teams, we had the tag team match between Orange Cassidy and Shibata taking on the team of Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia. And I was pretty sports entertained by this match. It was fun. Of course, you gotta have Daniel Garcia doing his dance, man. Orange Cassidy doing the hands in the pockets. That was even a funny spot where Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. were kind of doing the lazy kicks to Orange Cassidy. That was pretty entertaining. Surprisingly, Daniel Garcia pinned Shibata. And after the match, you had all four men going after the international title, and it was made official at Forbidden Door. It's going to be a fatal four-way between Orange Cassidy, Shibata, Zack Sabre Jr., and Daniel Garcia for the international championship. Now that should be a pretty entertaining match. And if there's any match where you could possibly take the international title off Orange Cassidy, it will be that match, and it will make perfect sense. Even if you don't want to pin Orange Cassidy per se, you can have someone else take the pin and someone, get the title. Hey man, it is what it is. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about is the main event. Yeah, pretty much the main event match between Taya Valkyrie and Chris Statlander for the TBS Championship. And for what it was worth, it was the one women's match because, AEW doesn't know how to book more than one women's match on an episode of Dynamite and Collision, it appears. But it was an entertaining match. Chris Statlander won. I mean, there's not really too much I can say about this. I don't know where Chris Statlander goes from here. I don't know where Taya Valkyrie goes from here. But, it was a pretty entertaining TBS Championship match. So, yeah, man, Forbidden Doors is Sunday. The card looks good. I can't lie to you. Even with my lack of knowledge of not so much Forbidden Door, but my lack of knowledge of New Japan, I can look at this match card from top to bottom and say, it's going to be an entertaining night for some graps. It's going to be some entertaining wrestling going on. Probably going to be one of the best pay-per-views of this year based off what's going on, the matches that are taking place. I can't lie to you. As far as this episode of Dynamite, man, like I said, it wasn't as good as last week. There was some parts where I was kind of dozing off a little bit. I don't know if it was necessarily because I was bored or because I didn't get my after work nap. I don't know what it is, but it was an alright show. Not anything too egregious, not anything too bad. So I'm gonna give it an honorary W. With that being said, guys, are you excited for a Collision this Saturday? Are you excited for Forbidden Door this Sunday? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Be easy. I'm out.